the head of state had to say yesterday? I'm told that soundbite is not yet ready. Now, the Jubilee Brigade will today be traversing Garissa County. Actually, they've done that already in search of votes. Murimi Mwangi is on standby and is going to join me shortly. But before that, let me just get to my panelist here in studio this afternoon. We're going to discuss these issues through with today's politics here with me. On my far right is Mark Bichachi. He is a political analyst. Then we have Abdullahi Boru. He is a Horn of Africa specialist and is going to come in handy because we're going to discuss politics in northern Kenya. And as always, we have Kevin Owidi, who is also a political analyst. Many thanks, all of you, for joining us.
Thank you, my brother.
Mark, let me just start with you. The Ipsos Synovate opinion poll that was released today, it has placed President Uhuru Kenyatta at 47% compared to Raila Odinga's 43%. What do you read in that?
You know, it's an interesting poll because first we need to begin by saying that the margin of error is 5%. Mm-hmm. So basically, they've made the polls quite tight. That's what they're saying. But what is critical for me is at this stage in any campaign, if you're hoping to win against an incumbent, you need to have a few points ahead of him. So for the NASA side, that doesn't look too good. But also for the presidential side, the fact that they've not gone above 51% makes this race particularly tight. And you can see it's tight even on the ground. And that, of course, cuts aspersions on the 10 million strong agenda, tutashinda asubuhi by 8 a.m. All that, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is an election that's going to go down to the wire. And what's very interesting is the Luyas, my people, are still the most democratic by being the most undecided. 14%.
I don't know how democratic that is.
14% towards the election. That means we are considering everybody. So again, the undecideds are going to play a very significant role in this election, and it's going to be an election about everyone getting out there to vote.
Abdullah, before I come to you, let me just listen to Kevin Owidi's response to that.
I have not changed my opinion on Ipsos Synovate polls. I think Ipsos Synovate, like Al Ghurair, had been taken over by Jubilee long time ago. I'm looking forward to those...
What's the relationship? Sorry, Al Ghurair is a operating company, Ipsos is an opinion poll.
They have become partners to Jubilee, giving Jubilee what they want to hear. I'm looking forward to those old days when opinion polls were released and we are explained why so-and-so has got this here and why so-and-so has got this much in Kakamega, and we are explained to everything in detail. But when you tell me I am number one, you don't tell me what I got in mathematics, and you don't tell me what my opponent got in this other thing. It is a way of lying to Kenyans, preparing Kenyans for the ultimate bomb that will land maybe on 9th or any other day. Because even NASA and the Jubilee do their own opinion polls, and they show completely different results from these ones of Ipsos Synovate that are made public every other day.
Abdullah, I'm sure you have experience from across the world. You've seen opinion polls happening in, bigger democracies like the US and the rest. First of all, issues to do with, credibility of opinion polls. So what is your opinion on that to begin with?
I mean, it's very hard. I mean, like right now, I don't have the data. I don't have the data from Ipsos Synovate to make an informed decision. And so therefore, mine will just be, I'll be careful not to say either way. Yeah, I mean, it also speaks to how we feel about institutions, not just state institutions, but non-state institutions.
Yeah.
So there is a fair degree of trust deficit between us and institutions. But then again, I always say we should be very careful. If we really do not trust Ipsos Synovate, the best way is to ask for Ipsos Synovate, raw data and see how they come to that decision. And, 0708 is very fresh in everybody's mind, although it's been 10 years ago, when, at this time, Raila was almost catching up with the president, and then all of a sudden, a different results are announced. So I can understand, my colleagues' disagreement, but I'll not go as far as saying that they are working with Jubilee or, outrightly discredit them, because it's very dangerous.
And of course, opinion polls are here to stay with us. And of course, this kind of time is like, they are Oscars. They have to be seen out there. And if you look at, the details of that result from Synovate, they've put the number there that Jubilee supporters standing at 75%, have, they trust the IEBC compared to just 45% of NASA supporters. What does this say about IEBC? We're just 15 days away from the general election.
One of the things that I keep saying to the IEBC is they need to stop playing politics and need to start speaking to the Kenyan people. Because it's the job of the politician to create an environment that is favorable to him, whatever that is in his imagination. Now, in the imagination of Jubilee has come out very strongly for IEBC, and NASA has appeared to come out as anti-IEBC. Sorry. And therefore, both sides of the political divide, if you ask a Jubilee supporter, they'll tell you the IEBC is fine. You ask NASA, they'll say, no, it isn't. Now, the problem with that is this. The IEBC of itself is not doing outreach to the public. One, to rescue its image. Two, to create an expectation of what a Kenyan will expect in this particular election. Three, to create a level of confidence in their systems. They're not doing enough. And what needs to happen is the IEBC needs to be removed from the political party process and be an independent arbiter. And that's something else that they seem to be failing. And what they need to do is they need to come out, show their teeth, show they're able to take action as quickly as possible and give Kenyans a sense of them being actually in control of this election. That's what needs to happen.
Mark, speaking about the public is composed of both Jubilee and NASA. It seems one side of the public believe in IEBC more than the other.
Yeah, of course. Because the truth is, if you look at the last 4, 5, 6 cases, you see NASA and Jubilee have taken different sides concerning Al Ghurair, concerning complementary voting, concerning how long it should take for the results to come out. And what has always seemed to happen is Jubilee has always come out in support of IEBC, and the guys who've taken IEBC to court are definitely NASA. So definitely a NASA supporter sitting at home feels like this thing could be stolen from me. But also remember that Jubilee has incumbency on its side. So the incumbency creates that sense of the institutions of government are pro the incumbency. That's the perception that is there. And it's a very hard perception to jump to.
And we know IEBC should be independent. Most of NASA supporters feel like, they're not okay with the electoral body.
First of all, Mark says incumbency is being polite. Jubilee is in government. And when IEBC doesn't do things they want to do, they go into public and roar at Jubilee, and Jubilee toes the line. At IEBC, and IEBC toes the line. IEBC is so fond of lying to the public. The other way of lying to the public is refusing to tell them the truth. The other day, I saw an IEBC commissioner here, a lady, I can't remember her name properly, Akombe. Akombe was telling us they cannot publish the register, because the IDs of people in the register, because they are protecting them. But today in all the media, all the newspapers, there are names of nominated candidates with their ID numbers published by IEBC, and there are very many. Was it not necessary to protect the privacy of these people also? So they tell us lies, and lies can't last long. She just said that 2 days ago, that today they have published a list with ID numbers. They have forgotten the lie they told the public. Lies can't withstand the test of time. There's also this thing that is going on in Kenya every other day. This thing of peace, peace. Churches are preaching peace. Jubilee is preaching peace. IEBC is preaching peace. We cannot have peace when there is no justice and equity. We must be treated equally, and we must be treated fairly to get that peace. You don't go buying equipment to come and subdue people to be peaceful. We are mistaking silence for peace. Peace is not being silenced. Peace is not being beaten into submission. Peace, you get it when people agree with what is happening, and they don't have to picket, they don't have to go to the streets, and they don't have to throw stones. But Kenyans must stand for their rights this time around.
Mark, before you react to that, Abdullah, you've seen what Owidi here has talked about. We're just 15 days away from the general election. And, most people, especially from the opposition, have started casting aspersions on the electoral body. Do you think this is a healthy environment?
It's not. And some of it is self-inflicted. To be honest with you, IEBC could have been in a different position if they did not create this perception. Because the manner in which they're engaging the public needs to improve. We've got 2 weeks where, IEBC needs to be out there, because there are people who feel very strongly that they are not doing their job. And one of the issues that really worries me when I'm seated here is when IEBC refuse to be transparent. For instance, you know, when they go to court, the court rules against them, and then they say we will appeal. It feels like they are in a confrontation. I mean, like all the you know, Khalif and Maina Kiai, when they went to court, was for the votes to be counted at the constituency level, for the returning officer to announce the results, not for the chair of IEBC to announce the presidential result. Yeah. That is in the spirit of, you know, them being transparent. They haven't shown that. Secondly, and which is slightly misaligned with this, is when a lot of the time IEBC says that we'll deliver free and fair election, the machines will be working, we are ready. You've got to be very careful, because this is a very complex election. It's 6 seats. And in some places, the MCA position and governance position has attracted so many people. Anything could go wrong. So managing expectation is one part where they are not doing a good job. The second part is public engagement, telling people, look, this is the election, this is what will happen, this is our role, do this. Because what that does is rooms for rumors, rooms for people casting doubtful aspersion about them, completely goes down. Look at how people came in support for the judiciary, and specifically Justice Odunga, when you know, the president, the deputy, and Senator Kipchumba Murkomen came after Justice Odunga. Everybody say, no, the judiciary is independent, you can't do that. And I don't think there will be a lot of people on the streets defending
before
IEBC.
I come to you, Abdullah has also mentioned something very important, that we're just 2 weeks away from the general election, and the political temperature is slowly moving from hot to a boiling point. Case in point, Mombasa County, where we expect, you know, a fierce battle, politically speaking, between Hassan Omar and Ali Hassan Joho. And one of them, Hassan Ali Omar, who's the Wiper candidate, is currently addressing his supporters at Tononoka grounds. And that is where reporter Francis Otomwa is now joining us live from. Francis, good afternoon. And what more can you tell us?
Well, Yusuf, we are here at the Tononoka grounds just to bring you up to speed of what is happening. Any moment from now, Hassan Omar Hassan will be making his way here. And I hope you can hear me well, because it's so noisy here in the background. But a lot of activities are happening behind me. Supporters are trooping behind me here at the Tononoka grounds, all of course ready to listen to what Hassan Omar Hassan will be having to say. It is a couple of days since Hassan Omar launched his manifesto, what he has repeatedly described as the People's Manifesto. And basically this is amid the tour people, sort of, to try and speak to the people and sell his agenda here. A stone throw away from this particular meeting, Hassan Joho, actually the governor of Mombasa, also trying to defend his seat, is also having his meeting here near at the Kenya Methodist Hall. And therefore, to show you how the jostling is here today, a lot of activities happening here. We've seen the procession of Hassan Joho pass by here, but a lot of security has been deployed here. Security apparatus, we are seeing most of them making patrols around here, just to show you that they are quite keen on what is happening here. But basically, Hassan Omar Hassan, the Senator of Mombasa, has tossed himself in this particular ring that has other 4 candidates all gunning for the Mombasa race. And it will be interesting to see how the race will be shaping up, because all the candidates are trying to put their best foot forward. Rallies are being held here almost on daily basis. Some of the candidates actually deciding to even deploy the door-to-door sort of campaign, all in a bid to try and woo supporters down here in Mombasa. Mombasa, quite an interesting spot as far as the 2017 race is concerned, and it has been described as one of those races that will have a lot of focus, that will have a lot of interest, and that is why we are seeing the jostling going on. So any moment from now, Hassan Omar Hassan will be making his way here, a man that has a background of human rights crusade, actually, and that is the background that he has been trying to campaign with here. And some of the issues that will be merging here will be the local politics, of course. A couple of days ago, we had the billboard politics playing out here in Mombasa. That seems to have settled down, because most of the candidates have their billboards now pitched in the town, and therefore this particular time we expect perhaps the discussion to move away from that and head towards who will be the man to do the best mobilization here in Mombasa. And the man who does the best mobilization will definitely have his way, and that is some of the issues that will be on the spotlight here in Mombasa, Yusuf.
For that update, and understand that Joho also has a rally that is happening simultaneously with that of Hassan Omar.
Well, of course, Yusuf, it's a question of trying to outdo one another here, because looking at the location of these two rallies, it's just a stone throw away from this particular location. And this time around, looks like no one wants to take chances, because earlier on, not once but severally, we've had Hassan Ali Joho, the governor of Mombasa, say that he'll not be very keen in doing rallies, he'll not be very keen in campaigning. But it looks like the heat is quite building up, and that is why he decided to also have his meeting here, almost same place where Hassan Omar is having his also meeting. We also know that Awiti Bolo of the Vibrant Democratic Party is also having his meetings somewhere within Mombasa County, and all the candidates are trying to jostle. Yesterday, there was a debate that was organized by a human rights group here in Mombasa, the governorship debate. We had two candidates appearing. That was Hassan Omar Hassan of Wiper, and also David Kitsao of the Kadu Wasili. The other candidates snapped this particular debate, and therefore some of the issues to expect to emerge here on the podium will be circling around that particular issue. Of course, this is the time that Mombasa residents will be trying to separate who is who in this particular race, so that they settle on who they will be voting for come the August 8th.
Many thanks, Francis. Of course, they have only about 15 days to make their final decision before they choose their next governor of Mombasa. We're going to link up with Francis shortly once that rally by the Wiper candidate for the governor's position, Hassan Omar, is going to address his supporters. Remember, Ali Hassan Joe also has another rally in Mombasa. We're going to make sure that you get updates on that as well. Mark, before we went to Mombasa, we were discussing about IEBC and how most of NASA's supporters feel like, IEBC is not going to deliver a credible election.
Now, the reality of the matter, of course, the NASA leadership has pushed this narrative of maybe IEBC is compromised, maybe IEBC is in cahoots with the president. Of course, the Al Ghurair tender, which they presented newspaper cuttings. Now, the reality of the matter is this, and I keep saying this, that if you look at the darkness long enough, you will see a ghost. That is human nature. And the more afraid you are, the more ghosts you'll see. Now, we need to start separating fact from fiction, and we need to do that very quickly, because the problem of having a fictitious argument is it quickly becomes fact as long as many people believe it. This is the problem. So what we need to do as a country, number one, very quickly, as Abdullahi has said, number one, IEBC needs to come out and show us that it is in charge of this election and that it is independent. The second part is, I think Kenyans need to begin to understand what is the process of peace. Number one, let's understand our government is given the duty and the responsibility to make sure you and I are safe. Okay? Whether we want to or not, actually, the government is allowed to keep us safe. That is why suicide is illegal in this country. You understand? That's the first thing. So whether they need to hire 10,000 helicopters or 10,000 lorries to keep us safe, that is their duty. That's one. Because again, the police is an independent organ of government. That's the first part. The second part is we need to understand is whether we are unhappy or happy, there are legal means by which we are allowed to express our unhappiness. And in this particular election, we've got 6 different offices by which our vote allows us to show our unhappiness or happiness with the status quo. That's one. The second thing, picketing and demonstrations are still legal avenues for us to express ourselves. So there is no need as a country for us to live in perpetual fear of violence. Because who's going to be violent? Are Ugandans coming into Kenya? No. It's me and Owidi and Abdullahi who are in this country.
Mark, let's go back to the opinion poll once again. And speaking about darkness, it seems these kind of opinion polls have successfully been putting, NASA, giving them some sort of a black picture. If you look at the results today, 61% of Jubilee supporters feel the country is going towards the right direction, compared to just 27% of NASA. 48% of Jubilee supporters feel like, everything is right as far as the election is concerned. And then 87% of NASA saying the country is heading towards a wrong direction. And again, 75% of Jubilee, they believe in IEBC, compared to just 43% of NASA. Is it all doom and gloom on the NASA side?
And here's
that is what the opinion poll is trying to picture.
Do you remember the referendum of 2005? okay, where Orange was born from. There's a statement that we used to say in Kenya that was very dangerous. We said, Kama Baba Mesoma, I don't need to read it. In other words, what we've done, the Kenyan public has surrendered our intellect to our political class. So if the political class says a thing, it is true. And this is true of either side, that Kenyans are incapable of being objective outside of their political divide. Because the truth of the matter is this: there is no way in the same country that a NASA supporter feels like the country is going the bad way 26% and a Jubilee supporter is at 75%. What that tells you is, as a country, we are not being objective, and the problem with that is that we idolize our politicians to the extent that we cannot see them correctly. And this is the problem, and this is what I keep saying. If you look at this particular political runoff, we are really simply trading green apples for red apples. They're still apples, okay? Or orange apples for red apples.
Awidi. Very briefly before we take a break.
I don't think bringing in the leaders here doesn't work, because this question that were asked to the people who were polled, they were not first asked to the leaders, and then they give answers, then their followers follow it.
But
we have been watching the way IEBC and Jubilee plays as a tag team. And that is what informs the supporters of NASA to reject IEBC. For example, when we say Al Ghurair has been compromised by being friendly to Jubilee, what was IEBC going to lose if they changed the printer? They had nothing to lose. All they needed to do is make both parties happy, and that is their job. That is the only way we are going to have peace during and after elections.
But that is
so,
what
but the way they
right
fought, together with Jubilee, it showed that there was something serious someone was going to lose. And the only participant here who could lose anything was Jubilee. It therefore follows that IEBC was in support of Jubilee. The other day, I told you here, the way the president has rolled out there in cabinet, you will see the judgments that are going to come out of the judiciary. The two judgments that have come are already in favor of what Jubilee would have liked to see. This is what sends NASA supporters into frenzy.
Thank you, Awidi, for that. Abdullah, you'll have your time shortly. Of course, the conversation is still going right here on the campaign edition of Choice 2017, a day in which President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Jubilee Brigade are expected any moment from now to tour Isiolo County. That is after they've already covered Garissa, Wajir and Mandera yesterday. NASA leader Raila Odinga is today in Nairobi. Our reporter Jeff Kirui is going to join us shortly and tell us more on what is happening on their campaign trail. For now, we'll take a very short break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.